Hello, Janine. How you doing?
Oh boy, how's anybody doing right now? Oh my goodness. Uh, so how I'm doing is one thing, but I'm going to say how I want to be doing, because if I say it enough, it'll become true. I'm every day getting stronger and more solid and trust the universe, ultimately, totally trust that the universe has my back. So I'm doing great.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm absolutely faking it until I make it. So I'm getting my house in order. I'm
Yep.
making sure that I do the breathing. No wine today. Look at this, everyone. Green juice instead of wine. And yeah, I'm really making sure that we put those calm waves out into the
Yep.
universe at the moment to counteract everything that's going on. So we've
Yep.
got a brilliant selection of questions that have been sent in today. Um, so if you've just covered any of them on any of your other ones today, just tell me to skip on. But on one of the really positive things to start with, I saw a video on this Stu Peters show and the Freedom Fighters radio about Alberta dropping all restrictions because someone's just won a court case there. But
Mhm.
the cards tell us whether that is going to ripple out and affect more areas.
Uh-huh. So I'll just speak to that for like we saw that even a week ago. I think that
Or
happened.
was it a week ago? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I was talking about it a week ago, but I thought he'd won it in the Canadian courts in Eastern Canada. But what I didn't know at the time was it was actually in Alberta, which is really interesting because the universe has contrived to keep me in Alberta, and now I see clearly why. Because the place I was headed for, British Columbia, Canada, is it's the most like California, we'll just say, of all the provinces. It's super far, far left to the point of deep state sleeping and unbelievable. Even the businesses that were badly affected are still jumping hoops, even though their government, their federal government said they could back up all the mandates, just like Alberta has. They're still upholding them, individual businesses. And I'm busy calling those businesses out and telling people do not visit businesses that still require things, or just walk in and say, my government said I didn't need this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy, incredible guy, I think his last name is Love.
Yeah, it's brilliant. He was brilliant.
He's brilliant, and he's just a guy. Okay, he's not like he even represented himself.
Mm.
Okay, so if he can do this, and I'm not saying he's obviously a really smart, bright guy, so I'm
Yeah.
not taking that away. I'm just saying, but he's not like some huge lawyer or some elite person, or no, he's a regular folk guy
Yeah.
who's using his noggin. Okay, and he's brave, and I just so appreciate him. So he brought it to the courts, and he describes exactly how he did it. And this is what Mr. T's was telling us quite a while ago, and the 17th letter of the alphabet was also saying, bring things, use and utilize the laws you still have. You still have laws. They haven't been able to take them away yet, but that's what they're doing right now. Okay, so he utilized the laws and brought his case, and he got it written in writing that the health minister of Alberta, a woman, she wrote in writing. He backed her into a corner by asking her, because in a court of law you can ask for certain things. She could not document that they had isolated anything to do with the illness, or could even call it what they were calling it,
Yeah.
and had no proof that it was in any way uh, um, you respond with health emergency. So they had to back up the health emergency here, and they dropped it. Just like I was getting in the cards that people would drop it all over the world like a hot potato. I think I was picking up on that. And I think if more people do that, I think it can be dropped. Also in Berlin, they're doing like they're bringing this huge, I don't know if they've won it yet. I can't remember exactly the details, but there's a huge lawsuit going on in Berlin. That's where they've won some ground on it at least.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think it is so important. I will make sure I share that video in my newsletter, because when you see, and this guy is such a brilliant example, isn't he, of really trusting his gut, following his intuition, and standing up for his rights. And it's just wonderful to see. Yeah. So, oh, fantastic. So then my next question then, I don't know if you've probably seen this. Simon Parkes posted something to say that there's been an update on the Commonwealth states, and Australia and New Zealand will lose their, or have lost their Commonwealth status, and will be administered by the United States, as the UK royal family have given up all its heritage. Can we see what's got to say?
Okay, so I'll just say what my initial feeling was when I heard that, based on all the readings I've done, like at least 2 years worth of royals readings leading up to, and watching what's been going on in the background. That sounds to me like Simon Parkes is letting the cat out of the bag on the background, secret tribunal type things we know are likely going on, but no way are they letting on to the general public in the UK yet about that, right? So he's like soft exposing is what I figured, but let's have a look, because of course that's not going to be common knowledge until, well, it could be this month, because they're saying that gut punch that Juan O'Savin talks about is like literally at our doorstep. So like where everybody feels like they're completely up against the wall with passports being necessary to even go shopping, et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, what I recommend is people get together who are against these kind of things, get in touch with each other, encourage farmers to have farmer markets, go to visit farmer markets, visit community, people in your community who aren't buying into this. Do you know what I mean? Support, like, don't just lay down and take this. Do you know what I mean? I like do things proactively in your communities, and speak out, because it's literally like they're trying to put people a big star on them, and parading them around. And in those days, and I won't say where that was from, but you know what I'm talking about, that war. Okay, everybody went along with it. They allowed people to be separated in the community with a star, and projected all of these things on. It's unbelievable what they're doing here.
Unbelievable.
But we can't let that happen again. Okay,
and
everybody.
People are. I mean, I've said to you in the past that I wasn't sure, because I hadn't seen much evidence of it where I live. But yesterday we had a day out in Brighton, lovely, lovely town in the UK city. And it was so refreshing, because it was so vibrant, and virtually every shop I went into was still accepting cash, which doesn't happen around here at all. Yeah. And there were very few restrictions and everything. And it was really, really brilliant to see. So yeah, that really did me a lot of good.
Yeah, I think people need to do research and or encourage your businesses to, not go along with these things. And then if you own one, you make sure you're not. I have a niece who owns 3 dress shops in Calgary, and right from the get-go, she didn't, if you walked in there without a you-know-what on, her staff was instructed to mind their business. And what they certainly weren't doing was asking for any proof that you didn't need one of those things. And if one of her staff did get weird about it, they heard about it from her. Do you know what I mean? And then the minute it was dropped, the signs are off. And there's lots of shops like that here where nobody's even got, some of the places still left up the remnants of the silliness and the psyop that just went down. And those ones are the ones I'm not visiting.
Yeah.
And they also require their staff to still wear, you know what, and the ones that are saying, okay, staff, do whatever makes you comfortable, I'm visiting those. So your money speaks, people, and there's way more of us than we think, truthers and believers and trusters and universal people that are willing to evolve as a race. There's way more of us than we think there is. So start encouraging your businesses to treat people like humans.
Yeah, absolutely. So
If you own a business, do it yourself.
yeah,
Like my niece did. She wasn't going along with that. If she could, whatever she could get away with, she was. And that's what people need to do, that because this is, they're pillaging your rights.
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so we're talking about that. Did they step away? So it does look like they're no longer. So those countries that he named, and they could have entirely lost everything in the background. I feel like we're just not being told about it. Everything about what or the UK thinks they know about the royals, or what they say about them, has been alive for some time, it looks like.
Mm.
Don't forget, they might have capitulated when, apparently they did, when Mr. T showed up with his gang there. Apparently he brought incredible amounts of evidence. And when he stepped in front of the Queen, that was no mistake. That was the signal. So I'm thinking that what he's saying is true, but it's ahead of time. And it's a soft exposure, just like I was saying, because this says they're not quite ready to absolutely reveal, but it's literally it's ready to go here. It's just one of the things they're going to be able to point to and go, well, we already told you that.
Yes, well done. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we've had a little bit of a chat about, not on camera though. So Pimpy did a video at the weekend and had a lady called Linda Forsyth on there from an organization called Seavine. And basically what she was saying is that none of these tribunals are taking place because an American citizen can't be taken or tried or prosecuted at the resort place, at the famous resort place in Cuba. So I'd like to ask the cards, what's going on with this? Because she was also saying that, that they're going to be coming down hard on people spreading the misinformation, etc. So should we have a look at her first, or
that sounds like big fear mongering to me. And also, if you think about it, nothing that's going on in the world is legal.
Exactly.
The money system hasn't been legal. Our rights are literally pillaged. So I think in a time of when there's literally an internal organization creating, it's like a warlike situation within the US, for instance, because she's talking about the US.
Yeah.
So the US has been infiltrated by an illegal situation that happened in November. And they haven't handed over the keys or the football, as they call it, to Mr. B. Okay, so the whole thing is suspect. So why couldn't they be doing things places?
Exactly.
And I got to tell you, for a long time, I've been really disappointed in Pimpy. I used to like him, but he's been sort of misinformation as far as I'm concerned, because he's completely lost. I could see when it happened too, he lost all hope and trust in the plan, which is fine. That's where he sits. So of course you're going to have your people who are going to go looking for stuff like that. Nothing that's happening in the whole world is legal. So hello.
Closure. I mean, it was hysterical when I looked into it in detail, because when she was saying, well, this is the list of the website where you see everyone who's been tried at the spa resort in Cuba is there, and you're like, this is ridiculous. If this is happening, we're in the middle of this war, they're not going to put their names on that website. That's laughable.
Yeah. And I've long said a lot of those lists are fabricated. They're wish lists or intention lists, or I think it's blown out of proportion for sure with the lists. But I feel like we are getting some stuff leaking out for sure. And I'll also say that, okay, so if say she was right, wouldn't they have clamped down on, for instance, me? Like, wouldn't the gray suit bunch of Come After Me or H. Clinton's people.
Exactly.
They take people out for a lot less than what I've been talking about her. And there's way bigger truthers than me with way more audience talking, what about that whole gang? Are you kidding me? I think we would be already in some kind of camp. Okay. So that just proved right there to me that there's a big movie going on. And she might not even realize it, but she's part of the disinformation category. And so's Pimpy, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do we got here? So we've got 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's because she's lost personal hope. So that, people that were on, like, feel personally put, like there was a moment quite a few months ago when a whole lot of sort of truthers walked away from everything. Pimpy was one of them. And obviously this woman may be in that category, or she never was on board with anything, right? So it's almost laughable to say, and it's unfortunate, but it's kind of laughable to say that it's not legal for that. Now, of course it's not legal.
Okay.
Nothing that's happening right now is legal. And the competition, we'll call it, has been going on all over the world. Competitions, by the way, with these machines that are, they've created an illegal situation probably for centuries.
Yeah.
So that I think they overstepped those sort of categories of legality when your whole system is completely taken over by a outside force under the guise of an inner echelon of people in your upper government and Supreme Courts who are all in on the takeover. That's what's going on.
Absolutely. And look, and it's the same that's been happening every time we've done readings about what's happening with the UK government, for example. It's just all a farce. We all know that not a lot of what they've been doing has been legal, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Contracts. So my next question, now I know you covered this a bit because you did in one of your videos on the brilliant Monkey Works when he had the interview with Joanna Savin, but did you ask whether Monkey Works and all the traffic to and from the spa, which has been a lot over the last year, did you ask the cards whether that was true?
Yeah, I've asked it, maybe not on that one, but I've asked that several times. And that's why I respect Monkey Works, even though he does the prayer thing at the end and whatever. That's not for me, just because of my, feelings about organized religion, but not to say I'm very spiritual, just not in the same way he is. But that doesn't mean I totally respect him, is what I'm getting at. I'm just not hook, line, and sinker exactly like him. Of course, I'm a whole different person. He might not even like people that read cards. I mean, because there's all of that programming that happened for hundreds of years against people using cards because the dark cult didn't want people in on the knowledge that how useful of a tool they are. So they wanted to abuse the cards. So they kept them to themselves with the idea that they're bad and evil. We know everything's inverted. So eventually, even good people that call themselves good Christian people are going to figure out that they've been hoodwinked that way. And all of these things were just taken away from them so they wouldn't be knowledgeable or in touch with their intuition. And then they'd have to rely on preachers and upper echelon of these upper people in these organizations. And the higher up you get, the more corrupt and deep, dark cult they get. So that's my opinion about that. But anyway, so what I guess I'm saying is the reason I trust Monkey Works is every time I look at his info, he's right on.
Yeah. And that says everything in relation to the last question that I asked about the Seavine thing. There's no way that you'd be having that much traffic going to and from the spa if something wasn't going on. As I say, it might also be exaggerated. So the disinformation leads nicely on to my next question. Now, Dr. McCullough, do you know Dr. McCullough? Absolutely brilliant naturopathic health expert, has been going for about 25 years, probably one of the best well-known ones globally. He released a video yesterday or today So during this whole process, a lot of the holistic health practitioners have been labelled as the dirty dozen or the disinformation dozen, and completely slandered publicly for exposing what's really going on. And he was number one on that list. Now, he's been sharing brilliant natural health advice for over 25 years. And he did a really sad video saying about how he was now, because he's under such threats and everything, that he's got to take all the information off his website. So my question is, why is that happening? Why is that still being allowed to happen? It's quite a heart-wrenching video to see.
I think it's part of the gut punch. I think it's part of the gut punch. I mean, I don't know if he knows. It doesn't look like he does. He might be thinking he's doing it to stay safe, because this card's a safety position. The guy's in a safe position. He's up in that tower. He's looking out at the world, taking a moment to rethink his position or decide what his next big adventure is going to be. So I don't think the guy's giving up or throwing in. He's just trying to decide how to get around what's been all the limitations put on him. And I get it. A lot of people are stepping away from YouTube because they can't put up with all the kind of hoops we got to jump and words we can't say, and it gets very frustrating. I get it. Okay, yeah. So it looks like he's not like giving up his whole ideas.
No, he's not. Yeah, he said that.
Life. Yeah, so I'm not dissing this guy in any way. I think he's done fantastic work. I actually think you said, why would they allow this? I think things like this are going to happen, and it's to make people go, wow. Okay, we're being censored, repressed, and our knowledge, like in our intuitive knowing, we know somebody like him's on the right track, because if we use his advice, it works. That's why he's become so well known.
Yeah.
Every time I use like those, like when my son would get any kind of a situation in his health throughout his life, now he's 18, his father, this I really respect about his dad, would go to this place called the Light Cellar. And it was incredibly, it's all just superfoods and health remedies, and would absolutely, this doctor you're talking about is probably one of their heroes in that place. You know what I'm saying? Everything naturopathy and everything. And Cachet's dad, who otherwise is pretty kind of a, basic guy. He's not really normally outside the box, let's just say. But in that way, he's very intuitive about health and takes really good care of himself physically, and really made sure my son did too. He would get natural remedies, and Cachet never got like typical stuff from the drugstore, really. I was cooking up mullein and different seeds and berries and stuff, and making teas for his cold or cough or congestions and whatever. And I would have recipes, like Norm would come back with all of these recipes, and man, did this stuff works.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does work. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, well, good. We're sending lots of blessings.
This guy's sort of stepped into the movie as well, like that Boris Johnson's ex.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to him, he's part of the movie, but they probably knew, like, our rights are being taken away. We are being repressed. Our voice is the truth is being hidden from us. And the more we see that, literally, which is maybe why he even chose to go online to tell everybody, because now he's saying, this is what they're doing to your wise people. So your own intuition, they're doing it to your intuition, and they're trying to repress your spirit. And he's sort of an example of that. Okay. So it's just part of the wake up call, whether it was intentional or not.
Yeah. So good. So hopefully he'll be all right moving forward. So I've got a question from Sarah in Italy. Apparently Tuscany is just about to go into another major lockdown, and they've had it really, really tough throughout, where they've had to wear the face nappies even outside and everything. So I think they were just about to come out, and now they're going into another major lockdown. Can we see if the cards has got us anything particular to tell us about Tuscany?
So I did read, and David Rodriguez, if everybody wants to jump over after watching this video, jump over to David Rodriguez's most recent. So two of them lately. So he had Juan O'Savin on telling us about and sort of pushing buttons. He was purposely pushing buttons, just like I think they got JCK doing too. And which is great. I like that. It needs to be done, you guys. There's a bunch of people out there literally walking around like zombies. Okay, so I feel like it needs to be done. So it's unfortunate, but there's not enough people awake, and that's pretty much what Juan O'Savin says. Although I think there's more than, I think he's even exaggerating that just to, so from all sides, we're getting these bells ringing. I'll just say it like that, because if I say the A word, the AL word, you know, we get in trouble even saying words like that. But anyway, so I think this is part of what they need to do, because the gut punch has to happen to wake people, you know, like shock them into doing something. So what was I just, so Juan,
Tuscany and Italy.
Right. So he was reading out, David Rodriguez read out this thing that I also read today, and I can't say it exactly, but it was saying that all over the world, they're going to do this.
Yeah.
In particular in the States, but it sounds like Tuscany as well. And the UK and everything. Yeah. They're going to try the old Delta thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that newest, thing, which by the way, there's no science backing whatsoever. It's absurd. It's even like almost laughable that they called it that. And if you look at all the names of the so-called apparitions, I'll just say, of this thing. Okay. So they hadn't even isolated anything to start with, but now we've got, these new creative things. Yeah. Right. Give me a break. Okay, so that's where that guy in Alberta comes in really handy, because he got them to admit they hadn't actually isolated any. There's no health emergency. Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everybody needs to go take it to the levels of your court system and utilize your laws in a peaceful way.
Yeah.
Okay, because what they're trying to do is push everybody to, so this is one of those psyops. They're trying to push everybody to rise up really, really intensely so they can martial law down, things, and take away even more of your rights again, because now the rights are being regained in the courts, you see. But if there's uprisings everywhere, they get to bring in, they get to override that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty sneaky, hey? Pretty sneaky. So watch what David Rodriguez says about it. He explains it really well.
Yeah, okay. Is that on his YouTube or on his .tv?
It's on YouTube. It's a live, and he often moves. Yeah, he'll move it probably somewhere else today, but
yeah,
you know where to find him, everybody. And people, and you were telling me this, Catherine.
Yeah.
People need to not ask us. We're working super hard, and we don't need to answer emails that say, sorry, I'm going to have to give a little lecture here because, and Catherine, you're having the same trouble. It sounds like we don't have time to tell you exactly where to find everything. You're going to have to go looking for it yourself. Most of my information comes from Digital Soldiers. Send it to me. Okay, so then I watch it, but I'm not sending it to every single person that emails. That's not how it works. Okay, you got to find stuff on your own. We have to learn, and we have to grow up as a human race to do our own research, take our own responsibility, intuit our own stuff. We're not here just to do that legwork for everybody. No way. In fact, I'm the worst, because if you're relying on me to do your legwork and your details, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm intuitive. I throw some cards on something. I never do the research. That's not what a tarot reader does. In fact, that would make me a bad tarot reader, because now I'm being intellectual about what I'm getting. It's not an intellectual process we're looking for in a card reading.
Yeah, no, it's so important, because it's part of the learning lesson for people to start really empowering themselves. And of course, when I get sent good stuff, I put it on my references section of their website when I get the chance to. but equally, I can't do it instantaneously because I'm not sitting here twiddling my thumbs all day.
Yeah, I have a Twitter account and an Instagram, and if I talk about it, it's up on those things. Like I'm constantly throwing stuff up.
Yeah.
So that, you know, like, yeah, just go look there.
Yeah. Now, the next one's a little bit different. This is from Andrea. The UK is predicted a heat wave coming. Is this to justify water shortages, or is it just a genuine heat wave? We're so suspicious of everything weather related now.
Okay, I get there'll be some setbacks with the weather and what you're calling a heat wave. That's a 5 though. So it's not, doesn't look like devastating, but it'll be frustrating. Kind of like what's happening here. We're at 32, that's Celsius every day. So it'd be about late 80s.
Yeah.
Right, degrees or whatever. But I feel like this has already been, a lot of the weather's already been stepped back by some good guys on our behalf in the background, which is another thing that people like Pimpy's not buying into that anymore. And that's his choice, right? Not to, but just so you know, if you believe there's people working on our behalf, he's not going to be somebody you're going to want to listen to because he doesn't believe it for a second, right? So he's dropped all of that part of you know, the truther sort of stuff, right? And then people like who he had on there, obviously she has no belief in that, and that's fine, right? That's their right to do that, and they're right. But I'm just saying, if a truther's listening to that who believes what we're saying about this in the background, they need to be aware that there's people that used to be in the community that dropped out of it, and they're totally spreading around stuff that doesn't match. But that's okay, because who knows, like it's all going to come out in the wash anyway. But you got to just stick to what do you trust in your heart.
Yeah, what feels
good to you?
Yeah,
what is your vision, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah,
if you want to join fearfulness and stay in feeling destitute, like, and we're all totally like humanity's going to be wiped out by these demonics, okay, you know, that's fine, your choice, but you have to recognize you're making that choice.
Yeah, very clearly. And you know, most people who are watching things like this have got you know, beliefs, understandings in terms of that we are quite responsible for creating our reality, and therefore when we find ourselves dipping like that, it's really important we decide where we want to take our thoughts from there. So this next question was a really interesting one from Pat. How important is Sweden in the role of spying or cyber surveillance about what's happening in the world today? So is Sweden sort of one of the key cyber surveillance countries?
Maybe in charge of programs like that. So that's been switched around, but it could still be allowed to appear a certain way, like their government, like I think is happening everywhere. I don't think much longer though, to be honest. This gut punch thing is coming, and then I think all, you know, what breaks loose and everything has to come spilling out. It won't have a choice.
Yes, exactly. Once you just
right?
yeah.
But anyway, so everything you're seeing from Sweden is like contrived, maybe to keep the facade up that they're in that dangerous position and doing those things. They were though, but maybe they got put step, because they got stopped from, but they're allowing it to appear like they still have the government they always had. And it's there, but this is for the good of humanity because it's really well aspected. The 9 of Cups, so it's to your advantage, or a wish comes true for humanity. So that can't be it's telling me it's not we're not getting the devil card, we're not getting the Hierophant card. So it's still not in the hands of the bad guys, but they're still letting you believe that's still in place. So it was in place, it's been switched. They got a shadow government governing them. This should all be coming out real soon, people.
Yes, fantastic.
Oh my, I can't wait.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, what should we have next? The lots of videos coming out of poor old Australia at the moment. Australia's had a hard time in some areas. It's been very different across Australia. But the Australian Army and Police Force, what side are they currently on? Because they are really cracking down on people, particularly from what I see in Sydney.
Yeah, they're pushing to get people to think independently. They're putting the boots to them. And they're about to do that in the US too. They're going to do the exact same thing. Mm. In fact, in this little thing that David Rodriguez reads out, and I read that very thing this morning. I just wish I had it in front of me. I'd read it.
Yeah.
It's saying that I think it was in Brighton. There's a sort of a paper called Brighton. It gets circulated.
Yes, and I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot of interesting. Anyway, it read that basically they're about to roll this thing out, and and they're also coming for the pow-pows, as Michael Jaco calls them.
Yeah.
Right. Of the US. Of course, that's part of their Second Amendment or whatever. So they're going to just do everything just to push everybody's limits, because it'll be beyond belief what they're going to pull. And that's the gut punch that these guys have been talking about, in particular Juan O'Sullivan. It's like literally right, like on the doorstep of everybody. Yeah. Like we can see it. They're making noise all over the place about it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that road trip I took, though, remember?
Yeah. Yes.
We are in the height of the hype, okay? Yeah. Just remember that, you guys.
So does that mean that the Aussie, just so I'm clear, does that mean that the Aussie Army and Police are actually under the good guys' control?
Yep. Yep. And actually, you'll find that even though they're playing these parts, they probably got certain people at like heads of making their guys below them play the part. They're doing it on behalf of the children. So a lot of children got rescued out of Australia, and nobody's talking about that anymore. Interesting. It's all this silliness going on, taking away attention from that. But they're doing it because ultimately that place was riddled in, taking children and doing horrible things. And I feel like that's what's actually convinced them to go along with this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good news for them. The good old Amazing Polly, we love Amazing Polly. We spoke about her last week. She did a really good video saying about the digital passports in the UK, that the company, I'm not going to name the company, that is rolling them out here, has links to the people in Germany who put the yellow stars on people. Very clear links that she found, and she goes through it all in her videos, which is on BitChute. Wow. Is that going to go ahead? When is it going to be stopped? Because at the moment they're on full rollout of it. There is a but though, and can I come on to a but in a minute?
Wow, it's absolutely not going to be ultimately stick around. It might not even literally get underway. All of that looks like there's something already in place that's going to step it away. And every time I look at it, it looks like that.
Yeah,
It's
fantastic.
like just you'll have to think it's real for at least a couple of weeks. It looks like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and so my advice, if any of that rings true and you feel okay, because I'm not nobody's guru, and I know you're not trying to be anybody's guru, but we're just trying to help everybody. If I can help at all, people to just stay calm, visualize, remember how life really is created. Remember that you're co-creating your destiny. So those buttons are all being pushed to have reactions from both sides, actually, at this point. So your best bet is stay focused in the vision of your world and the way you know in your heart it could be, and act as if it's already there and you're just stepping towards it. Don't look at all of these details. Look at, where do we get? Okay, in 6 months, I'm going to be with my family. We're healthy. We're more abundant than we've ever been. And all of this it's like people are talking about it like how we're never going to let this happen again. And these are some of the visions I'm using.
Yeah.
It's all common knowledge, and we're sorting through our feelings about what happened with tribunals, and really looking at, and people are writing books about and making art about how we came to the brink of losing our whole civilization as a human race, and we saved ourselves.
Yeah.
We're putting nobody ahead of ourselves. We're all useful and important. Everybody is. It has a place in it.
Absolutely. And I was just speaking to one of my really good friends, Troy Casey, before this, and he was saying, it's like most of the spiritual leaders, not religious leaders, always talk about staying on the middle path, staying centered, and not getting pulled with the yin and the yang from one side to the other. And I think that's really, really important to do. We've talked about it a lot, but whatever works for you as an individual, to stay centered. Of course, you're going to have some ups and downs, and someone will send you something and you'll gasp, but bring yourself back to center and concentrate on your future. Yeah. Fantastic. So that's really good news. The other thing is, are we likely to see, with the disclosures that are coming, is part of that disclosure going to be what happened to two big buildings the month after August?
It's interesting because I've been seeing so many videos and so many disclosures about that. It's been brutally exposed.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't actually know, it's because they're not paying any attention. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, yeah. So I think it has already been myself. It's almost common knowledge to most people I know what happened. Even people that are absolutely not thinking the way I do actually know that thing was a big
Really?
a psyop. Yeah. So there's the tower card. Something hitting that tower and it all going over, right? Because it wasn't built on a firm foundation. Okay. And you asked, will that information come out? Okay. So it's already out, like that card says. There's a lot of it's already out. Okay. But new testimony will be shown, because this guy's got tons of legal clout. He's thought of as really intelligent. And this almost feels like JFK Jr. or some information he might have, whether that's him not having left in the first place, so he's still around and he comes and tells us, or he left something for us to know about. We'll read about it. I don't know, but this is interesting. Maybe he knew the plan way back then, because remember, they planned stuff way ahead.
Exactly. Way ahead. And
I think that was a yes to your answer or your question.
That just would be fantastic, because I think, you know, something like that would just switch so many people over, because it's great that you do that, but I still know a lot of people that still believe the official narrative on that. Interestingly, they're not the type of people that would look at YouTube particularly, or things like that, you know, they're not the type of people. So you tend to, you'll search out for the information when you're looking for it, won't you? And certainly if you search, you can find masses of it. So one question I've had from a lot of people this week is, we like the problem that's happening across the border in America, we are getting a huge amount of immigrants coming to the UK. But a lot of them apparently are men of fighting age, and there are supposedly leaking documents that show that BJ agreed to a huge amount to come in over the next 4 years as a plan to them, that he, you know, there would be a army to
like there probably always is, okay? But that's a 5 and not a major arcana. Those are 2 5s. If you, the way I teach tarot and understand it, and have been reading it for 35 years, 5s are temporary setbacks and hiccups and adjustment periods and periods of frustration that are necessary when change is happening. There's always those 5s you got to get through, because, you know, like say you just moved into a new place, like I'm about to, there's all the taking apart this place, sorting out all the stuff. It's 5s. Okay. And then getting what you need for the new place. And once you get in, now you got to set the whole thing up again. It's exciting if you look at it that way, but it could also be a big pain in the butt if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what 5s are like.
Okay, brilliant. And the final question, God, I just thought of it and I've just forgotten. Oh, yes. So the final question now, I know we don't like doing dates, but there's always a but coming when I say that.
Yeah.
There's been so many people, I mean, Jean-Claude and Penny Kelly and Cliff High, and people saying about coming up in August, I think it was the 10th to the 12th, something significant happening. So we did have that at the beginning of August, I think, as well. But the latest ones I've heard this week, 10th, is this a time period we should be paying attention to, or should we just drop worrying about dates? 10th to 12th of August.
I say there's explosive dates all through August. The four. So big picture breakthroughs, but it could look difficult. And the breakthrough comes when I think they announce the new repression. Okay, that's going to happen because of the D. The D, you know what, V.
Yes.
How can I even say these words?
I'll never be able to speak normally again.
Evolved illness, okay, that's now being called a D, ver.
Yeah.
And then int. Anyway, yeah, so it feels like yeah, I would say yes, but I would say there's way more dates.
Yeah.
Their potential for the thing they're talking about all the way through August. So August just looks like it's nonstop drama.
Yeah.
It's already started.
It certainly has.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. So that's really good. So we need it. You've got to clear the blockages. You've got to clear it, haven't you? We've all been saying for ages, we're ready.
Yeah.
So now's our time to prove that we're all ready, isn't it?
Yeah.
Waiting. Yeah. So yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much. When do you actually move, Janine?
24th or 27th. It's up in, I'm trying for the 24th, but it might end up being the 27th of this month. So it's also a super exciting month for me, but
Yeah,
it
really.
just proves that even YouTube or tarot card readers can actually get a really creative mortgage at 60.
It's just
Like, it took me all this time to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, but it's, you know, again, it's practicing what you're preaching, isn't it? And it's putting it out there, and it's been answered at the right time. And it's going right back to the first question of the night of that fantastic guy in Alberta, and you wondering why you were meant to be staying here. You now know why you were meant to be staying here.
As I couldn't tolerate any other kind of, like, if they tried any monkey business like they're doing, and like I spent 6 days in BC and British Columbia, and I love Vancouver, but oh my God, it reminds me of what everybody complains about California was like. But I know there's a lot of Californians that are really cool truthers too, by the way, and they're having trouble and leaving the place, like, or feeling like they can't live there anymore. It's really sad.
Yeah, it is. But hopefully not for long, not for long. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. And we will see what next week brings.
Okay, hold the line, everybody. I know you're tired of hearing it, but honestly, you're literally in the eye of the storm right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember that road trip.
Road trip story.
Yeah.
It's ongoing.
Yeah, ongoing, but with a happy ending. Thanks so much, Janine. We'll speak next week.
Yeah.
Bye.